We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
I want to talk about news, don't want the drama. From no pretentious media Madonna. I found me a great ganja mama. Cannabis and coffee with Tamarijuana.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Cannabis and Coffee. It's, I don't even know how to say it's gray, minus 14. I got quail eggs, so things are booking up. Other than that, it's a pretty not, non-sequential day today. We've had some pretty crappy news in the last couple of days. We lost Greg Williams yesterday to fucking cancer. Like, there's just so many people. I want to put a shout out to the Fagans in Calgary too, because Keith Fagan is battling for his life. So everybody that's out there, please send your best wishes to Keith and Debbie Fagan, and rest in peace, Greg, because cancer is just non-discriminatory. And I'm so tired of hearing about cancer and COVID and all this fucking shit, to be honest with you, because this year is just kind of rolling into the next year. And this morning I have Russell Barth with me. Him and Christine were also diagnosed or got tested positive for COVID here in the last couple of weeks. And interestingly enough, they fared pretty well from what Russ has been kind of telling me. And Zine's had no symptoms, right, Russ?
Yeah, well, no, I didn't have no symptoms. What happened was on February the 1st, the night of February the 1st, I had this huge sinus attack. I was just producing like copious amounts of snot, and I was coughing and coughing because it kept trickling in my lungs. So I had a bit of a fever over that night. So on the 2nd, I was feeling pretty crappy, but it just felt like a cold. It didn't feel like any of the COVID symptoms. So I looked up the COVID symptoms, hadn't lost my sense of flavor or smell, which isn't really saying much because I have congenital anosmia. I've had a greatly reduced sense of smell and taste my whole life. Pretty much everything just tastes like bland rice. So that doesn't help. But I didn't have like lung problems and stuff. So I called my doctor's office and I'm like, yeah, I'm having these cold symptoms. Should I get tested or what? And they're like, yeah, we'll send somebody. So on the February the 3rd, I got tested. And on February the 4th, they contacted me to say I was positive. So then we had to wait all the way until the 9th for Christine to get tested, and she tested positive. Now, I had symptoms from about Monday the 1st, like the night of Monday the 1st, until about, the 9th or 10th. Started to feel normal again. I feel normal now. But at no time did I have what you would normally call COVID symptoms. I wasn't really that short of breath. Well, no more than usual. I didn't have headaches. I didn't have diarrhea. I wasn't having abdominal cramps, except from my abdominal muscles being cramped from coughing so much from my snot. So none of this seemed different to me. None of these symptoms were any different than the cold I normally get from living in Ottawa.
Right.
So maybe I was asymptomatic. Maybe I just had a mild case. Maybe there was a false positive I don't know. But whatever. I'm not going to go around saying, oh, yeah, man, I had COVID. I beat COVID or whatever, because there's people walking around with their lungs all fucked up and, brain damage and serious organ damage to their COVID after having actually fought COVID. All I had was a cold, and I tested positive. So,
well, it is different for everybody. Just like, do you think the cannabis use, you guys, because you guys are medicinal cannabis users, you smoke, or vape and take care of yourselves using cannabis as medicine. Do you think that might have had anything to do with the fact that you had pretty mild symptoms at all?
Well, scientists seem to think so. I mean, there's, anti-inflammatory properties to cannabis that have been well documented. So I'm assuming it's having some sort of helpful effect. There's quite a few articles. I mean, even back as far as April, when this first hit, there were articles about how, a couple laboratories were like, yeah, actually, this cannabis stuff is probably pretty good for, lung problems like this. It might help out, for a cure or a vaccine or something. So, I mean, that was like almost a year ago. So, and the thing that was weird too is we almost never go out. We're home 99% of the time. And when we do go out, we use the butt or whatever. We wear masks. But, we could have caught this in the lobby. We could have caught this off the elevator button. We could have caught it in the laundry room or on the public transit or any place.
Right. Well, that's what I said.
We try to be pretty precautious about it. Pretty cautious about the whole thing. But
you guys were, like I said, the two, most famous shut-ins in Canada, pretty much, because you guys don't wear, because with Christine's epilepsy and stuff, it's you have to work around her and whether she's well enough to even go out. Never mind with COVID.
Well, normally, and the thing with Christine is she's normally sort of what you would call well enough, right? Like just see her walking down the street, you're like, okay, she seems pretty normal. She talks normal when you talk to her and stuff. It's just all of a sudden she starts to twitch out and fall down. So this can happen so randomly that it makes it perilous to go out. I mean, most times we go out, nothing happens. But that's only because we go out once or twice a week for, sort of 3 hours, 2, 3 hour, 4 hour at a time. That's it. We don't go, the longest trips we had, which was scary. We went all the way to Shawinigan for this movie shoot in April, or not in April, sorry, in the summer, August or October. We did shooting on a number of different days here in Ottawa and then one time in Shawinigan, and that was so scary for me because I had to get her in a taxi, then I had to get her on a train, then I had to get her on 2 different subways, and then I had to get her into a car, and we had to keep an eye on her the whole time we were doing the shoot, and then get her to a hotel and do the whole thing backwards to get home. So,
but you guys did it.
And at any time she could start, peeing on herself. So, with COVID, this is why I got tested.
You still did that. You still got to go and experience that. And I think that's great because I know how badly you guys wanted of Ottawa. Like, I know how badly you hate being there.
Yeah.
And for you to be able
I really don't like it there.
You guys, went on. So I'm so happy you guys got to do that, and that you're getting some shoot time in Ottawa, because these are things that because of the lifestyle you've had to live with Christine's illness and you being her caregiver, it's really limited what you can't do, and with COVID it's even limited even more. And I don't think our listeners really understand what you two go through on a daily basis just because of Christine's illness and your own illness, because you both are medicinal users. You both use cannabis for many ailments that you both have. And I think that's something that's extraordinary, that you can maintain and manage yourselves so well. But with COVID, it's been really difficult too. But like I said, you two don't go anywhere. So I know I was kind of taken back when you said that, you had a positive test, and I'm thinking, where in the hell would you two have even gotten it? But again,
when Ottawa Public Health asked me, they're like, well, who have you been hanging out with, and where you been, have you been doing anything? I'm like, no, I don't know anybody who's had this, because I never go out. Like, we're home all the time. They're like, oh, that's unusual. So, this was, it's disconcerting for other people, because there's other people who think they're being precautious, that they're being cautious, that they're taking precautions, and they're actually just, and they're at a lot more risk than they actually might think they are.
Yeah.
So,
well, like I said, in a communal building, that probably, puts everybody in that building at higher risk, like anybody who lives in an apartment per se. Ventilation, whether it's, the elevator button, the fact that you have to share laundry too, like it's, anybody who's living in that kind of situation.
I was trying to be good about keeping my hands alcoholed up when I was down in the laundry room. I tried not to touch anything without, cleaning my hands with alcohol first. But there's only so much you can do, and it just takes a little bit. So I don't know if I caught it from there, or maybe I was down in the laundry room just a few days before I got diagnosed. So, I might have inadvertently given it to people.
Right.
So,
do you know of anybody
I tried not to, like, I'm not being casual about this. I've been taking it pretty seriously.
Yeah.
But it hasn't had that big of an impact on our life, so.
Well, that's good to hear. Like I said, I'm glad to hear that it has been a mild case, because, like I said, you've got asthma. Christine's got epilepsy. You guys are both, immunocompromised, and so you'd think that COVID would be the worst of the worst for people in your situation. Whereas you guys have fared fairly lightly with it, which is good. Like, I'm not saying God, I'm glad Like, because, the next one might not be so lucky. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just might not be as easy for, say, somebody else in the same circumstance. They might get really sick. And you guys didn't, thankfully. But again, there's so much because of the cannabis. I keep thinking, well, maybe because you guys do consume, like, on a daily basis, and you're clean, you don't go out. Like, maybe that was the ticket. Maybe that's the reason why you didn't get as sick.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's I'm guessing. There's some science. I mean, already there's been some science articles about how cannabis can help with COVID, and I don't think they're really studying to see if heavy cannabis users are getting it more or less than other people.
No,
because I think they're just going to do their best to contain it. I mean, there's not, how do you crunch those numbers, right? And it's weird too because Canadians have been smoking tons of pot since the start too, because everyone's stuck at home. So.
Right. Did you mention to public health that you guys were medical cannabis patients?
Yep.
Oh, good.
Okay. Yeah, we told them we did, and we used the oil dose, and they're like, okay, they didn't really ask about it, but I told them, like, what medications you on? I said, just cannabis. And they're like, oh, okay.
Right. That's interesting because you that maybe if they started seeing more across the lines that cannabis and less milder symptoms, that would alert somebody's interest. Just you'd think, but of course, with so much going on, it might be something that again is just left to the wayside. Now, if, they walked in and you said I had 1,000 plants growing, you can guarantee they'd be all over you. But because it's just help. Exactly. If it's helpful towards something, don't give it any credit. Come on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, and reporters misunderstand everything they read anyway, so which is another problem. They read a science article and they think, oh, 3 people had bad side effects. That means it's bad. It's like, no, it means 97 people didn't have bad side effects, which means it's good. Exactly. They read everything upside down. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the main thing that, we really have to, keep pursuing ourselves is keep educating, raising awareness, because if we don't do it, nobody's going to for us. And as people that use, cannabis as medicine, I think we're the best advocates for that, showing that, hey, I did have symptoms of COVID and I was tested positive, but my symptoms weren't nearly as bad as they could have been because I think my cannabis use was helpful. And those,
but you need to back that up with some sort of evidence, Well, some people would say that, some people could say that for prayer, oh, I prayed real hard, so,
Right, I guess, but praying
you got to have some science to back it, and like I said, there is some preliminary science that shows that COVID seems to not get quite the grip on people who are using cannabis. So,
well, I have a friend that stuffs buds up.
I think I just got lucky. We could get it again too.
Yeah. Are you guys going to be tested?
That's the thing.
Wait. They have to wait for.
Well, yeah, I'm going to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. Tomorrow we're allowed out of the house, so I'll talk to my doctor's office, and I'm like, should I get tested for antibodies, or how long do I have to wait for that, or what? So we'll see. And then, I don't know. But, living in Ottawa, we could pick it up again. We could pick up the different variants. There's different variants, too. So.
Right. Yeah, that's serious. And Ontario is opening up, like, for business again, pretty much. Is Ottawa opening pretty much for business again, too, or what's going on in Ottawa?
I guess Ottawa is, yeah. I mean, it seems to be a patchwork across Ontario because it's such a wide province. It's so heavily populated, so, like, for example, in a place like Renfrew, it's a small town outside of Ottawa, there's hardly any cases at all. So keeping them in lockdown is kind of overkill. But in Ottawa, I mean, they're letting kids go to school, which I think is crazy, because we have worse numbers now than we did last month when all this started, when we locked the schools for 3 months.
Right.
So, it just seems like the government is just looking at the people of Ontario as collateral damage, and they're just going to say, well, we got to keep things open, because, the government doesn't want to talk about a universal basic income or something like that. And right. People go, universal basic income, that's free money. No, it's not. It's just reallocating money. It's just reallocating it to people who need it instead of people who are just going to blow it, put it into offshore accounts.
because those people that have that extra money, we're going to go back to buy groceries. It's going to go into paying their electricity bills. It's going to go into, buying their kids clothing. So all of that
Exactly.
extra universal is beneficial for our economy. And I don't understand why people
Yeah.
don't understand that. Because, like, let's face it, like, if you have the money, you're not spending. You're not buying good food for yourself. You're living on pasta and pasta sauce because it's cheap. Because that's
Yeah.
all you can fucking
And
afford. It's not
and
fair
a
for
UBI.
single parents.
Yeah, I mean, giving
Go ahead.
$2,000 to every adult in Canada every month would be way cheaper than the patchwork of disability pensions and welfare and EI and food banks and all this crap that we have going now.
Yeah.
It's a patchwork right across the country that's not really serving anybody well, and it's costing more. UBI would just be. I mean, and we don't even have to set up the administration because it's all there. Like the infrastructure to administer this money is all there.
Right?
You know
like
what I mean? The
CR
federal government would just go, here's money, send it to these people. Bam. Like you send it to ODSP or Ontario Works or whatever the BC equivalent is. Say, here's the money, send it to people. Like it's all right there. It's cut and paste. Nobody has to set up new offices or put up new buildings or hire new people.
is ridiculous. BC's PWD, which is your OSDP, is like $968 a month. And if you're married or have a common law partner, you're not eligible for it. In Alberta, it's $1,688. But the cost of living out here is just as high as it is in Vancouver and Cranbrook. I'm not fucking kidding you. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
And population is out
My
here.
sister lives in Victoria, and it's not much different.
Right?
So.
And they allow $370 a month for housing. $375 for housing won't even get you a fucking room in someone's house. Like it just.
And in Ottawa, we got a 1-bedroom apartment that's about 650 square feet. It's $1,150.
That would be more.
And it's not.
Money.
I mean, that's a pretty low price because it would be more like $1,300 for most buildings like this.
1 bedroom. We've got a brand new, supposed to be low income housing that's gone up here in Cranbrook on Innes Avenue. It's townhouses and apartments. It's not ready yet. 1 bedroom, 1 bath, not even 900 square feet, $1,400 a month. If you have a pet, it's another $100 a month. If you have a car, it's another $60 a month for parking. If you got this, and this is supposed to be low income housing. We live in Cranbrook. There's nothing here. There's no industry here. There's no big industry. There's nothing but the mines, and the mines are 3.5 fucking hours away. So we've got nothing here. Where do these people get off even charging $1,000 a month for a fucking 400 square feet? It just floors me. It's greed. Greed. It just pisses me off. Anyway, that's my rant.
It's also the market too. Like if you live in a place like Ottawa, and the normal rent for a 1-bedroom of so many square feet is this many dollars per month. Why would someone say, "Oh, I'm just going to be generous and I'm going to rent this place out at $850 instead of the $1150 I could get for it"?
Yeah, I know. I know.
Would you? Would you? I mean, maybe for a friend you would do that. Because you're like, well, I'm doing okay, so I'll just let them have it at a lower cost. But if you have an opportunity to make $200-$300 more per month for nothing, you're going to take it.
Well,
and this is the situation.
Well, if you're renting,
we need to have rental caps. Like we need to have basically laws that govern how much rent can be, and correspondingly, you'd have to reduce taxes on people who own rental properties, right?
Yeah.
To make it so that they're not hurting, because you don't want to hurt landlords and property owners in an effort to help renters. You got to find that compromise in between. So, and Canada could afford all this. A UBI and free education for everybody, we could afford it. But we blow so much money on cops and, send money to other countries like Israel, who can totally afford to not get money from us. And, I don't mind helping poorer countries, but I think Israel's doing all right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
This kind of stuff. But I mean, there's just so much money we burn away on, the oil industry and now the coal. All of this stuff. It's just so wasteful, and we could be spreading the money around to people who actually need it, which would help the whole economy, but we don't. So.
Right. I agree. Well, that's
nor do I expect we will for a while. So.
Right. Well, it's like fighting with an American about social democracy and how they don't understand that social democracy is okay. It's not socialism, and the difference between the two. And communism's a whole different other subject altogether. And they just don't understand how social democracy works. And if we didn't have social democracy in Canada, we wouldn't have the benefits that we've got. We wouldn't have infrastructure, we wouldn't have education, we wouldn't have our healthcare, universal healthcare. We wouldn't have the society that we have. And I believe that everybody should be able to go to.
We need more socialism because, I mean, everybody's teeth should be paid. Everybody's glasses should be paid. How is glasses and teeth not health?
Right. I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree. I think education should, I think all our kids should get a college education for free.
Oh, yeah,
we should
sure.
cover
we can totally afford it.
4 years. Your first 4 years of 21.
But it's this bootstrap bullshit, It's these conservative-minded people. Oh, you got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And the people usually saying that shit are the ones who are, born with a silver spoon in their mouth.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's what I've often said. You don't get into politics to become rich. You have to be rich to be a politician, because you don't get into politics to make money, because there's just no money to be made. But you have to be rich to be a politician, because that's the only way you can afford to get into it. And so you never get a normal, like a regular Joe that's working that's ever going to be in politics, because I can't afford to be there. And that's unfortunate, because then you're not working for the people that are actually putting you in power. You're not working for your constituents.
You can't even afford to go to a protest anymore.
Right. I feel you on that one. I feel you on that. And like I said, there's so many of us that work hard that try to, get ahead, and we're never going to get ahead. We're in the same, demographic of pay bills to get, to work to pay bills, to work to pay bills till you die. And that's the unfortunate thing with universal benefit. That would give that free up. That means that you wouldn't have to work. So you still work as hard. That's the thing. People aren't going to quit working for $2,000 a month. That's, especially if they're making that.
The problem is people would not be as easily exploitable.
Well, they wouldn't be. They'd be able to pay their rent.
There are people willing now to do the shittiest job for the smallest amount of money.
Absolutely.
Because of the way things are. And as soon as you start giving people $2,000 a month, it's not like they're not going to work. They're going to want to work. They're just not going to want to work at that shitty job for that shitty pay.
Well, I think you can still work.
And then the problem is we let rich people get too rich.
Yeah.
We let CEOs make 1,000 times what the lowest paid guy in the company is paid. That's bullshit. That shouldn't be allowed. No one in the world should be allowed to be a billionaire, period. No one should be allowed to have more than $100 million. After when you earn $100 million, great, here's a plaque. You're a champion. You fucking won. You won at the world, or whatever you want to call it. But there's no fucking way, with people starving and the world just on fire, that we're going to let people just sit on great big piles of money like a fucking dragon. People like Jeff Bezos, people like the Westons, all these people, they should have all but $100 million taken away from them. And they'll be like, oh, but I earned it. No, you didn't. You fucking stole it. You fucking fleeced people, and you bullshit people, and you fuck people over. That's how people get rich in this world. Don't tell me you fucking earned it. You didn't. Nobody who's a billionaire earned it. Nobody. Ever. Nobody, not Bill Gates, nobody. So when you get $100 million, we take everything else, and it goes to people.
Well, I think, if you've got $100 million, you're sitting pretty fair anyway.
Exactly. And it's like, oh, fuck, man, you took all my money. Hey, you're resourceful. You figured out how to make all that money. Do it again. $100 million to start with. Fuck, there's guys who've started empires in $500. Now got $100 million. Go get them, Tiger. And everything you make above $100 million, we're taking that too.
I agree.
We'll give you a platinum plaque this time.
Right.
But it's bullshit. We worship. But look at Bill Gates. He's so fucking generous. No, he's not. He's got piles and piles and piles of money he's not giving away. He gives away some of it every year to look good.
Yeah, exactly. It's a tax break. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
The more they get more tax breaks, they can keep more of their money. It's not because they're generous. They get.
We can fix all the world's problems by taxing billionaires, and they'd still get to be billionaires.
Oh yeah, they'd still be billionaires.
None of them would go from billionaire down to 100 millionaire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Every one of them, if we tax billionaires properly, they'd still be billionaires.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like we would tax them to the point, and that's just being fair. I don't think we should be fair with them. I think they're dragons. I think we should imprison all of them in chains and neck irons and everything.
Oh,
because you became a billionaire. I think becoming a billionaire is something that should be met with scorn, not applause.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we're going to take a quick 2-minute break and thank our sponsors so that we can keep on keeping. We're listening to us live on paceradio.net.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
CP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888. And grow on with CP.
PACE Radio is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
You know, right, we're back with Russ. We've been talking lots about COVID just because of the fact that they were tested positive in their cannabis use. And also, you know, billionaires and how, you know, the world could be saved if we could just tax the rich. And we've often talked about that a lot. Because, you know, the fact that, you know, if you're on disability in Canada, even with cannabis, you can't afford your medication. You can't afford these licensed production places cost of even staying in, even if you have 3 grams a day, like a very minimum prescription at, you know, $10, that's $3 a day. Times that by 30 days. That's $9,000 a month. Who's got $9,000 a month to keep up on a 3 gram a day prescription? You know what I mean? Or 900, I don't know. It's not good. But again, like, you know, it's universal benefit. I agree with that 110%. And I know the Conservatives would never go for that because God help them if they have to help somebody ever. And I think that's what's so disheartening about
this. The Liberals think the same way. They just pretend to be nice. You know, we've all been to high school. We've all been to high school with people who are mean to you in the hallways. They shove you against the locker. They call you bad names. They spread rumors about you, and they're brazen about it. There's also the people who are fairly nice to your face, but then they're doing all kinds of terrible things to you behind your back.
Yeah.
Pretend friends. And that's what the Liberals are. So I don't have any more love for the Liberals than I do for the Conservatives. The only reason I ever vote Liberal is to block the Conservative in my riding. I never vote. The only time I ever voted for anybody is when I voted for myself in 2004. I don't vote for anybody. I vote against the Conservative in my riding. And if the person most likely to dislodge or stymie the Conservative getting that seat is a Liberal, I'll vote Liberal. If it's an NDP in that riding, I'll vote NDP.
Right.
Neither of these parties have any use to me at all. I think they're completely ridiculous. The NDP like to portray themselves as quote, the left. They're actually center. The Liberals are often accused of being the left. They're right of center. And the Tories are right of the Third Reich. So,
so
you know what I mean? There is no left in Canada anymore. There's no party of the left.
No,
you know?
no. Well, the Greens are slightly more left than the NDP, you know, if you want to go.
I mean, you know.
But again, like
they
I said,
barely
I'm more
exist.
of a socialist. Yeah, they barely do. But again, like they're trying. Like I do see that they're trying to put some, you know, meat on the bone. But, you know, like a 4-party system, 5-party system, like we've got, you know, it complicates
we need
things.
proportional representation. It's this first past. The way I would change elections in Canada.
I think that would complicate things way more than it already is. I think if we had, you know, more parties and more different representation.
Yeah, but parties can't afford. It's too. You know that most of the money that each party makes comes from like a handful of donors. Almost none of it comes from people like you and me donating to the party.
Well, I donate to my party. Just saying. I do donate to my
party.
But
I'm just saying, if I'm saying regular people, right? Regular people who donate $1,000 or $500 or whatever to the local Liberal Party, right? Local NDP,
I can
right?
never. Yeah, but I mean,
that's a pittance. That's a pittance compared to what they make from the bigger sponsors. So none of these parties are going to answer to the people, especially the people who vote for them.
Like our party, our association here. Because I helped run the last campaign with Robin Goldsberry. Like I didn't run it, but I was on her volunteer team. And let's put it this way: the Liberal Party expected us to raise $120,000 during the campaign. Let's just put it this way: we didn't even come near close to that, of course, because we're in a very conservative riding. But they did. They put an expectation on our candidate. She had to put $5,000 of her own money into it, plus buy her own signs, which were, I think, close to $13,000 or $14,000. So it was money out of her own pocket. The donations that we got for local people was zip, like very, very slim, limited. Why I donated this time? Because normally I don't. But we need to get ready. Apparently, there might be an election coming up. So we have to have our candidate ready if we need to be ready to go. And we needed nomination money. So if there wasn't a donation
look what the Liberals do, too. You know, the riding association, they pick the person they like best. And then the party leader will just go, yeah, no, we're going to put this guy instead. They did it with Bill Blair. They did it with somebody else. Jude Renault was supposed to be the Liberal candidate for her riding, and the party just went, no, we're overriding the
with vetting. That's got lots to do with vetting, and I don't think people quite understand that getting through the vetting process to become a candidate is excruciating. Like Robin had to delete stuff from off page 5
But they also just put people in all the time. I mean, they parachuted Bill Blair into his riding.
Sometimes they do. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to say they don't or they do. I just know how hard it was for us to get her in because of the fact that she's a business owner. She made a comment about business something 5 years ago, and they found it on her Facebook page. So, like I said, they've got lawyers and stuff that do these vetting processes. Why I'd never get vetted? Like, even if I tried, even if I was the best candidate for the riding, even if I was the best Liberal there ever was, they wouldn't vet me. Why? Because I said, go fuck yourself on Facebook. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or because I made some comments about cannabis or, something ridiculous about, who knows what 5-10 years ago about Trudeau or something stupid that I would have said on a social media platform. Nothing anti-Semitic or racist or anything like that. But you know what I mean? Like if I would have said some comment about the Liberals being stupid about something, they'd say, well, we found this 5 years ago, Tamara, we don't care. If you're the best candidate for the job, the best person for the job, you don't count. You're done now. Yeah. So, and like I said, it's exactly where it's at. So you could have the best person in that riding, and they might have said something stupid 5 years ago, and that pretty much ends them.
Or they might have said something that's not stupid, but the Liberals just don't, they just don't abide by it.
The lawyer didn't like it. And if you wonder, like...
If you even mention the fact that Israel commits war crimes, bam, you're out of the party. Because they are more beholden to Israel than, I mean, every government we've had, and they always say the same thing: we stand by Israel, no matter what. You know, I mean, just look recently. You know, the international courts want to investigate things they've been doing in Palestine. Canada won't hear of it. They won't stand for it. They don't want Israel investigated.
Well, that's like saying they don't want China investigated, though, like in seriousness, because it's the same thing with the Uyghurs, right?
Exactly. No, I mean, this is the thing. So Canada tries to portray itself like your pen is in the other room. Christine? Your pen is in the other room.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Canada tries to portray itself as like this human rights champion or whatever, and we're not. We suck up to the Saudis. We suck up to China. We suck up to all these different countries that do horrible things. The U.S., you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I agree.
They have children in cages. They got children in cages down there, and, you know, we're still going to call them our best friends. Yeah. You know, Biden hasn't got his kids out of those cages yet.
Not yet, but they're working on it. I know that's one thing.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope they do. Like I said, you know, I'm not saying
Obama did more. Obama did so many. They did so many extrajudicial bombings with drones and stuff in the Obama administration. You know.
Right. Yeah.
They would just that guy's a terrorist. So we're gonna wipe out that whole wedding, and you know kill like 11 people and stuff and children, and like we had to go after this terrorist guy. No trial or anything. Right. Obama did that. You know.
Yeah, I know. There's so many things that you could go back and.
And Biden was right there with his hand on his shoulder the whole time. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I say I'm just kind of, like I said, hoping that there's a different dynamic. I'm not saying it's going to be like world dynamically changing, because I don't believe that that's going to happen either. I think there's too many people down the rabbit hole that we're ever going to actually become a united, peaceful front. But, you know, there's a little bit of hope, a little ray there. Like I said, I watched the town hall last night. It's just different. Nobody nobody sitting on the stage saying how great he was. Biden was really personable, very in tune to the people that were in the audience. It was just different. Like I said, after watching Trump for 4 years, screaming about how great he is.
It's all a show. It's all spectacle.
Of course, it all is. Everything in our lives is a reality show. Like even going to the grocery store, it's a fucking reality show nowadays. Who's got what mask, and if you're wearing a mask, you could have the drama in a goddamn grocery store aisle because somebody's too close to you. Like, it's just ridiculous how people have got so not people anymore. You know, COVID's really done a number on our humanity, I think. The finger pointing.
You were always like this. I mean, too many people, this is, it's often referred to as toxic positivity, right? Yeah. And I do not like toxic positivity. If you have a friend and they're like, oh my God, this is my list of troubles. And you go, well, buck up. Statistically speaking, it'll probably work out. And, you're a strong person. And you say sort of positive things. But then you get these people like, oh, just put it out there to the universe and it'll fix, like all this hippy dippy bullshit. And to me, that's toxic positivity. And I think a lot of what's happened, people think, oh yeah, people are nice, people are friendly and stuff. But to me, I think we're all just on the brink. Most people are on the brink of punching some stranger in the face for the smallest infraction. Because we're all struggling with something, right?
Yeah, I agree. So, I think we all have our capability. Absolutely.
But for that, they have a couple of drinks when they get home, and they smoke a lot of pot, or they use some other pills or whatever. They eat junk food, or they're really into Pornhub or something, that sort of brings you the world. And then when this new thing shows up, where everything's more inconvenient and everything's difficult and it's a hassle. Life was already a hassle, so people are getting more and more, aggressive about this kind of stuff. And I'm the same way. Someone gets on a bus, and I just go, cover your nose.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to be polite about it.
Breaking news. Rush Limbaugh, dead at age 70.
Yeah, exactly.
Long-time controversial radio host Rush Limbaugh, dead at 70. Just came across the feed. Yeah.
Oh, well. Hell gets another general.
Yeah. Just another era of conservative right-wing crap.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but like I said, it's become so disheartening to even turn. I just haven't even bothered.
He's a monster. And he was a monster. I'm not going to say anything nice about him.
No,
Rush Limbaugh was a
he's terrible.
monster.
He was. He's terrible, and I'm not even going to even spend 2 minutes talking about him because that's about what I think.
Yeah.
Ted Smith's having some issues too with VCBC. I guess they've got an eviction notice, which is really unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Well, probably because the city's leaning on the landlord, probably.
That's exactly it. The landlord's giving them eviction because it's not even the city; it's the fucking safety unit, the cannabis safety squad.
Like I'm sure the landlord would be perfectly happy with them there. It's just that he's getting shit breathing on his neck.
Exactly. They've never caused any grief. Who are they hurting? What is the harm? Because they can't get into the legal market because they don't want to sell subsidiary crappy product. So they want to sell real medicine to people. They don't want to sell garbage, and you're going to penalize them. I just can't.
See, this is why people act like Justin Trudeau's a good guy.
No.
You think he doesn't know personally, specifically about this fucking case? It's the only one in Canada. You think that's only happening 2 or 3 levels below him? No, he knows personally about this shit. He's been briefed specifically on this case.
Well, I don't know about that because, like I said, I was talking to my mom actually the other day because my mom worked for the RCMP for many decades, and we were talking about the fact of parliamentary being able to give the RCMP any direction, and she was pretty specific on what they can and can't do, and she reaffirmed to me that Justin Trudeau cannot pick up the phone and call Lucky and say, "Hey, you got to do this." That's not allowed. Just like Chris Spearman.
Yeah, but he can change the fucking regulations. He can change the fucking regulations with his signature. He can. The Justice Minister can. The Health Minister can.
No, it can't. No, they can't. It's got to go through legislation the same as anything else.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. Yeah, Mom told me they did.
So ask John Conroy. John Conroy was saying for years that they can change these regulations under the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act. They can just change things with a fucking signature. He's been saying it for 20 years.
That one is possible. That one there. But I'm talking.
This is the thing about they don't have to. They make a big show. They make a big show about having to change the regulations and stuff. That's all fucking. It's all pageant. It's all pageant. Trudeau or the Health Minister or the Justice Minister could say, effective immediately, the following thing is changed to this thing. Did we say you're allowed to grow 4 plants? We meant 6. Oh, did we say 6? We meant 0. They can change it, good or bad, like that, with a signature instantly, put it in the Canada Gazette, and that's it. They can. That's how these regulations work. They just choose not to. Okay, so anybody who thinks that Justin Trudeau is a good guy who gives a fiddler's fuck about medical pot users in Canada, he doesn't. He cares about the corporations. He cares about international sales.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a shit about the people buying pot from the fucking pot store over in your local friendly neighborhood pot store. He cares about the countries that are buying shipping containers full of it, sending it to Germany and Israel and other countries.
I know, and I was just reading about that the other day and listening to people talking.
That's why he doesn't give a fuck about this. He knows about this case with Ted.
People are
fucking
bitching in Germany about how crappy Canadian bud is and how they're getting crappy bud from Canada. Canada's supposed to be the world leader in cannabis, and the people in Germany are bitching about the cannabis that they're getting that we're exporting to them. If we were doing that ourselves, we'd go to jail.
I love it. I love watching it collapse like that.
But we'd go to jail, Russ. If we were smuggling fucking that much fucking cannabis across any international border, you and I'd be sitting in fucking jail.
Yeah.
Plain and simply. Done. We'd be fucking
gone.
All right, see you later.
So Trudeau's a scumbag, and he could change all of this very quickly, and he chooses not to.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not even gonna argue that one because you're right. It's just like I said, if we were doing what they were doing, we'd be in jail. And that's the word, and that's the double standard of everything. And it just makes me so angry that we have to live with the hypocrisy of the double standard, that the government's allowed to tax and sell and do whatever they want with this crap. But God help us if we help another patient, we get caught doing it. How many people we've known, I'm not personally known in the last little bit that we've read, 1,000 plants being busted, so-and-so getting busted. The people that were just busted, Sandy Smith, actually, I do know somebody personally that just got busted in Lethbridge, him and his dad. So Sandy Smith and his dad, Terry, were running a medicinal dispensary out of an ambulance in Lethbridge with all the product that we would be able to get through, our medicinal need. And they tried to attempt to get a legal store in Lethbridge. They had a storefront. They were denied the legal regime. And they just got busted. And they were charged with possession, trafficking, all this, and all they had was like the same stuff you'd see at, say, Ted Smith's. some edibles, some shatter, some decent cannabis, something that wasn't, dry and eradicated. And here they are. They're going to be in jail. So this was 2 weeks ago in Lethbridge, Alberta. So they are still busting people for trafficking. And likely Sandy and his dad, I know they're medicinal patients. They probably shouldn't have been charged with possession at all because of the fact that they probably hold, 20 gram a day licensing at minimum, both of them, because both of them are sick. So, here we are, you got patients trying to help patients and the patients are getting busted still. And that's, the worst part about this whole legal regime is that they didn't take the laws off cannabis. They just added a few and made the jail sentencing longer for 14 years. If you get, like I said, if I got caught today passing a bag off to somebody by chance, and thankfully I'd go to jail for 14 years because I have previous convictions. I'd be gone.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't get 14 years though, because you're white. Well, no, seriously, in Canada, if you're white, you're going to get a lighter sentence. It's not right, but that's the way the situation is.
But when I got busted 10 years ago, Russ and Tabor, that judge wanted 2.5 years. The only thing that saved me to get the 6 months house arrest is that I had a 10-month-old baby at home. That's the only thing that saved me from going to jail, because the Crown was asking 2 years less a day for that fucking 4 grams in the mail, because I had previous possession charges too. They figured I hadn't learned my lesson. And because I had Tabor and he was 10 months old, and I was his day-to-day caregiver, and Alvin had a job, that's why I did 6 months house arrest. So I still did 6 months house arrest for 4 grams of fucking cannabis in the mail 10 years ago as a white woman. You know what I mean? Like, just saying.
Yeah, but that was in Alberta?
You bet. It was.
Now, yeah, well, Alberta's a different.
Than anywhere else,
I don't even
right?
consider Alberta part of Canada. So I don't consider most of Canada part of Canada. Alberta is just part of the U.S. as far as I'm concerned.
Well, they tend to be extreme
right?
like that. Yeah.
There's these the border between Quebec and Ontario goes right down the river, but the cultural border goes back and forth. You've got French villages on the Ontario side. You got English villages over on the Quebec side, right next to the next village, which is French, and it's all back and forth. So the cultural border sort of zigzags across the river, but the official border is just right down the river. So
yeah. Well, it's pretty diverse out east. Like, it's a lot more diverse out east than it is out west. And I will just put that out there. If you're in the city, like, say you're in Calgary or Edmonton or Vancouver or Kamloops, Kelowna, kind of the bigger cities, you see a lot of diversity. Cranbrook here, we're all pretty white. Just saying. Like, I had my friend here that was from Jamaica.
In Canada, like 90%. I think 91% of Canadians live in like urban or suburban areas.
Yeah, and that's the problem. They don't see the diversity, right? They don't get the chance to see the diversity, enjoy the other culture.
They live in cities. So most people live in cities in Canada, so they do get to see the diversity. It's the people who are out in small towns who, only see brown people on TV.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to disagree on that. Like I said, not disagreeing. Because that's the truth. Like I said, Mark came and stayed with me for 6 months, and it was no problem. It's not like we had a problem. We didn't have any issues. It's just that when we went to the grocery store, people were kind of looking secondly at us, and it was like, what the fuck are you looking at? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just my attitude. Like, what the fuck are you looking at, kind of thing. But you get a second glance. Even when I go to the store with Alvin, because Alvin's a great big native dude. You go out with him, and he's huge, and he's brown, and people kind of like look at him like he's kind of intimidating, and they back away, and it's like, what? He's the nicest guy you'll ever meet. Like, just because he's big and brown doesn't mean that he's going to hurt you. But that's, what I mean? Like, it's just, that's what you get. So I see the racism. Even though I'm white, I've got an Indigenous husband, and I see it and feel it on it, and it's here. And we've got a Tanaha and the Yakum Nation like right on our doorstep too. And people treat the Indigenous like shit, and it's not even right. Like, it's just not right. Yeah. Like, I just can't even see that.
This is why, like I was talking about toxic positivity. People love to portray Canada, even in their own minds. It's like people like to lie to themselves about, we've seen this with spouses. People who, male or female, they've got an abusive spouse, and then they defend that spouse. They say, well, he or she's not so bad. There's all this other good stuff or whatever. And I think there's too much of that just in the world. People thinking positive and, quote, looking on the bright side. yeah, that's a good attitude, I suppose, but you can't do that at the expense of the actual truth.
Yeah.
And Canada needs to come to terms with the fact that it's a bad country with a lot of bad people that's done a history of really, really bad things. And we need to, before we can change and fix these problems, we need to come to terms with ourselves and admit to these things, that we did these things.
Do you ever think that's why we say sorry all the time? It's because we're so sorry? Because Canadians are notorious for the word sorry. And you have to wonder, what the fuck are you sorry for? You know what I mean? Like, why are we notorious for fucking saying sorry all the time? Are we that ashamed of our past? We must be, because that's what Canadians are famous for that.
This is why I've said that before, that the eagle, the bald eagle, is the perfect animal as the national animal for the U.S. because it just comes flying down from above and just fucking grabs its prey by the back of the head, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't give a fuck. It answers to nobody. With the Canadian beaver, what does a beaver do? Well, a beaver quietly sneaks into an area and then, with complete and utter disregard for every other organism around it, modifies the environment to suit its needs. If that isn't Canada, I don't know what is.
Yeah, no, that's a true analogy. I've never thought of it that way, but it's very true. And that's, very true. Like,
the beaver's an asshole.
Yeah, like I said.
The beaver is an asshole. It's a genius, but he doesn't give a fuck. He's like, hey, fuck all these other fish and all these other organisms and anything that might have had nests or whatever. I'm going to make a great big lake here where the stream is, because I want one.
I'm going to build a hut, and you can all.
I'm going to chop shit down. I'm going to build a house. I'm going to dam up this river, and it's going to piss a lot of you guys off. And you know what? Fuck you. I'm a beaver. What are you going to do about it? Come get me. I live in the water.
Sorry when we're done. Yeah, I just find that kind of humorous. Like, notoriously sorry. What are we sorry for? Apparently lots, because we're always saying it. So
well, genocide, basically. I mean, that's what we're sorry for. It's like an ongoing genocide.
Right, absolutely, I agree. Okay, my dear, well, thanks for covering my ass today. I appreciate you jumping in at the last minute, because I thought today was Tuesday instead of Wednesday. And I hope you and Christine are feeling better, and I'm glad Christine didn't get any major symptoms. I worry about you guys a lot out there, just so you know. Yeah, and that's and you had very mild symptoms, so that's good. I'm glad you're feeling better. You don't sound like you're all dying in deathbed. So I'm really glad to hear that, because like I said, I'm not gonna lie, I worry about you guys. You guys are been my mentors, and for a long time. I've known you guys for 13 plus years now, so I care about what goes on in your life. So just so you know that.
Back at you.
I appreciate you guys coming on. So I will. Is there any way or anything you got going on you want to shout out to anybody in our last couple of minutes?
Just go to Christine's Corner, and maybe you want a commissioned portrait. She has a particular style that's very groovy. So go to Christine's Corner on Facebook and see about commissioned portraits.
Yeah, that would be great. Christine is a beautiful artist. She's done some beautiful work. Yeah. I love her stuff too. So it's Christine's Corner on Facebook. If you guys are looking to commission any work, logos or labels or anything of the sort with her funky
No, she doesn't do that stuff anymore. No, just commission portraits now.
Just commission portraits now. Yeah. Oh, well, that's good to know.
Yeah, logos, no more logos and labels. We don't. That's too much work, too much hassle, and not enough money. So.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of people are just doing it themselves these days too, because of cost, right? Like, shipping costs, everything else is just.
Customers are often difficult too. Customers don't know about marketing and graphics and stuff. Yeah. But they want what they want, which isn't always the best thing for the product to sell. So.
Yeah, well, I agree 100%. It's just, I get it.
Yeah, Christine's Corner commission portraits.
Yeah, and less stress for her, the better, and it's something that she really enjoys doing. So check that out, you guys. And thanks again, Russ, for being on my show. I don't know who I'm having on next week again. I'm always winging it, so we'll be back next week. I'll be doing my 7:10 sesh on Friday night through StreamYard on IWK, and we'll be back next week, 10 a.m. on paceradio.net. Thanks for listening.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
BMA Hydroponics has everything you need to succeed. Visit our hydroponics superstore at 404 Maitland Drive in Belleville and we'll show you how to grow your own quality cannabis for pennies per gram. We're open Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Thursdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Call 613-967-9888. BMA Hydroponics. It's worth the drive.
The only way to go.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.